Hello, Gateway team. Happy Wellness Wednesday. It is so good to be here with you. It's gorgeous outside. I've been able to get in a couple miles today. I saw Kayla walking. One thing that is really working for me is when I have to make some phone calls, I just put in my earbuds and turn on my tracker. I'm doing my walk, and it just tracks my miles. And so I'm walking and talking, and I'm able to go further than I probably would before, kind of getting to do two things at once. So I've really enjoyed that. And then when I come back to my desk, I have like chilled out and ready to go. So anyway, that's working well for me. And I absolutely love your all's post on our staff wellness page. If you haven't been able to check that lately, that's a great place to get some motivation, to see what other people are doing, to encourage your teammates. I love seeing kind of how everybody else is making that happen for themselves. So please keep doing that. That is definitely encouraging me. I wanted to read something. This is from Dominique in our Chandler office, and she responded to Emily's ask in our Google Hangout that the wellness team has. And she shared, I have started using the health app on my phone to track steps and miles daily, which has helped me to keep moving throughout the day. At first, I was not sure I would be able to walk a mile a day, but it is getting easier the more that I do it. Dom, just great job figuring out what works for you. And even though you weren't sure kind of how it would go, you just went for it and are adjusting and are figuring it out. And it sounds like you're gaining some confidence in yourself and your abilities and what you can do. And, when I started as a therapist in 2007, I was just like, I don't know if it's possible to do this job and be well. Like everyone that I saw around me was sacrificing their mental health, their physical health, their spiritual health, their emotional health. I mean, they did not look well. And so when I took this job as wellness coordinator in 2015, I was like, I am so curious if it's possible to be well and do this really hard job. And it is so cool watching prevention staff, admin, treatment, who all have their very, own challenges within their job, but be able to find a way to prioritize your own wellness. And that just gives me hope. It gives me hope for the quality of life you're getting to live. It gives me hope for the example that we set for our patients, that we're not just passing along, here's what you should do, or to our community partners, we're actually modeling that. And what we know is that when we model behavior, that makes people more likely to follow that and be a part of that and want to have what we've got. So I know we're doing 31 and 31, and it just seems like a simple wellness challenge, but it's a big deal. And it's a big deal from where we've come as an agency and as a field. So you guys are setting a great example, and I'm so happy to be a part of that. I love that the wellness program is not just Alicia, and it's not even just the wellness team. It is all of us, and I'm so thankful for that. So what I wanted to share today really was on my mind starting last week. As you might have noticed or not noticed, I did not send out a Wellness Wednesday last week. And I was like, man, I really wanted to send one out. But you know what? I couldn't add one more thing to my list. I couldn't make it happen. And I had to just let it go. And the word that came into my mind was capacity. And the term capacity, one of the definitions is the maximum amount that someone or something can contain. And so I was thinking about the Alcoholics Anonymous program in general. And step one is we admitted that we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives had become unmanageable. And the more individuals try to maintain control over the alcohol, the more unmanageable their lives becomes. And so as a person that's in the Al-Anon program and someone who's worked the steps, I have changed that to, I admitted that I was powerless over people, places, and things, and that my life becomes unmanageable when I try to control them. And so, okay, I've been thinking about that, and then I thought, you know what? You know what else I'm powerless over? I am powerless over this expectation that I should be all things, that I should do all things, that I should know all things. And when I try and do all of that, my life becomes unmanageable. And I really found some acceptance for that in the last week. I am learning to accept that I do not have an infinite capacity. There is a maximum capacity that I can contain at any moment. And you know what? That's okay. That is okay. I do not have to be the end all, be all, know all for anyone. And, I had written down here, there's a maximum power and experience and understanding that I can have at any point in time. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to learn and that I'm not going to grow. But right now, right here in this moment, there's a limit. There's a limit to what I can do and who I can help and what I can think about and what I can change. And I just think about a cup. Let's see. I think about a cup. And this cup has a capacity, a maximum amount that it can contain. And if I pour in and pour in and pour in, eventually it is going to start overflowing. It is not going to be able to hold it all. And so I have had to do a mind shift, and I come back to this all the time. They always say you got to keep reworking your first 3 steps. Like, I am powerless. I'm powerless. I'm powerless. And so I'm doing it again, and I'm doing it with y'all. I have to do a mind shift of I can't do the most. So I have to do what is most important. I have to do what is most important. I can't do everything. Once I find acceptance for that, and I recognize that that expectation is not reasonable, then I can think about, okay, Alicia, what is the most important? And that might be today, what's the most important, which that may be different tomorrow or a week from now or a month from now. I mean, what's important may continue to change, but every day I have to remember I cannot do the most. So I have to do what is most important. And back in 2015, before I got this job as wellness coordinator, what had to move to the top of my list was my mental, emotional, physical, spiritual wellness. My wellness had to move to the top of the priority list. That every day I have to schedule wellness. I mean, truly every day I do, or that it just is not going to work out. Every week, every month, I have to schedule wellness. And because I have a limited capacity, that means I'm going to have to set boundaries. That means I'm going to have to say no. That means balls are going to get dropped. People are going to be disappointed. And you know what? Today, as long as I am taking care of my wellness first, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And so I'm extending, I wanted to ask y'all some questions. So for you right now, do you feel like your life's unmanageable? Where you feel like it's a Tetris game where the pieces are falling and you're just trying to find a place for it to fit before it all kind of explodes and game over? Have you been saying to yourself, man, I really want to do the walking challenge. I really need to do the walking challenge, but I just don't have time. Okay. So look at your belief system. Do you still believe that you are the end all, be all, do all, know all? Do you still hold yourself to that expectation? Because the truth is, something's getting sacrificed. You're not ending all, being all, doing all, knowing all because this thing, maybe the walking challenge that you want to do, you're not able to fit it in. Your capacity is limited, but unfortunately, it looks like you're sacrificing something that's important for, I don't know what else is in your cup. And so can you start to get to a point where it's like, okay, I have a limited capacity, not because I'm not competent, but because I'm human and there's only so much time in the day. And then with that, do you know what's important to you? I'm pretty sure you do know what's important to you. You know, in your heart, you do know what's important to you. Man, write those things down. Say those things out loud. Start talking to somebody about that. And start imagining, how do I do the things that are important to me every day? How do I make those part of what stays in my day? And how can I start creating space for it? How can I start learning how to say no? How can I start practicing it? How can I start letting go? You know, the things we hold on to, do we really have to hold on to them? I'm saying all the same stuff to myself right now. Trust me. That's how I do wellness. I don't know what's best for anybody else. This is my experience, what I'm living right now, and I'm extending it to see if it is anybody else's experience. And it may not be, so, you know, that's okay. But can we get to the point where we go, I can't do the most, but I can do what's most important, and I know what that is, and I know how to integrate that into my everyday. Wellness is a process, and wherever you are is right where you need to be. And just keep thinking about it. Keep plugging away. Keep trying to figure out how to make yourself as well and as satisfied in your life as you can. You deserve care too. Okay, folks. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. As always, reach out to your wellness team, reach out to Emily, reach out to me, reach out to your counselors, your family. Just reach out. The more, you're a help to a lot of people, and you deserve that same amount of care and help too. Love y'all.